This is by far my favorite lesson of all time to teach my students. I've done it now 3 years in a row and I'm so excited to share it with you. It is so impactful. It makes everyone emotional. It's something that we reference all year long. If you are new here, this is also what inspired my students last year to want to start the school-wide blessing closet and our tooth fairy hygiene bags for our first graders. It inspires so much. It doesn't have to necessarily be a December lesson. It doesn't have to be based around Christmas. It can just be based on the love of giving and the love of remembering, checking our privilege and being grateful for the things that we have. I've always taught it in December. It is something we always reference all year long. Put a little disclaimer down in the caption as well. I know not every school is able to celebrate Christmas. Like I said, I know I've taught in rural West Virginia and rural Utah where Santa Claus comes to school and there's an elf on the shelf, and that's not the case for everyone. Not everyone celebrates Christmas, but this could definitely be adapted and revised so that it can be taught in every school. These are the 4 things I used this year, and I say that because you could definitely change out these items, change out the books, whatever you want to do. Last year I used socks and chapsticks, and this year I decided on hot chocolate and hand warmers, and this was definitely far more impactful than socks and chapsticks. Books I read every single year that I've never changed are Silver Packages by Cynthia Rylant and Gifts of the Heart from Patricia Polacco. We'll get into these in just a minute. Every single year I've taught this lesson, the room, when I close the book, the room is silent. It definitely makes some kids emotional, and one thing's for certain, it makes all the kids think, and it's empowering, and it's a beautiful thing to be a part of. What I got this year, I got hot chocolates and I got hand warmers, and what I do is I buy them and then I just leave them sitting on my table or my desk, and I just leave them there, and then I observe and I listen to what the kids are saying and what they're, how they're reacting to these items, right? Because they're children and that's just what they're gonna do. And so they say things like, oh, we're gonna have hot chocolate today, or I think Miss T got us hand warmers because it's gonna be cold at recess, or oh, I think we're having a hot chocolate party, and some of them will straight up ask you, what time are we having our hot chocolate, because they're children. And so I kind of write down some of the things they say so that I can bring it back up to them later. Just leave it on my desk, and then at read aloud time, the very first book that I read is called Silver Packages, and this is the book that gets me every time, and it gets my students every single time. Not all of them, but one thing's for sure, they're all intently listening, they're all thinking, and they're all silent when that last page closes. And so I don't want to give away the whole premise of the book, but there's a rich man who gets in a car crash in a poor rural area of West Virginia, and this poor family nurses him back to health, and they give him love in the form that isn't like a tangible item or money, and it makes him feel like he's indebted to this town, this community. Like he needs to make it up to them because they saved his life, and so he does that in the form of bringing around the Christmas train. I thought there was a picture of it on the back, but there's not. The Christmas train. And this is how these children get Christmas presents every year. They each get one. He just throws them off the back of the train, and they each get one, and sometimes it's mittens and sometimes it's socks. And that right there is what starts to stop everyone in their tracks. We don't talk about this out loud. I can read the room, and I read it very slowly, and I let them make predictions. And it's funny because they're like, so this little boy, he wants a doctor kit, and they're like, oh, he's gonna get it, he's gonna get it, he's gonna get it, he's gonna get it. And he doesn't get it. And he gets socks, and like I said, like different things like that. No, and the kid, you can tell the kids are like perhaps at 9 years old, they've never thought this is what Christmas looks like for other people, or that not everyone's Christmas wish lists look the same. And the story really unfolds, and you could never predict what's gonna happen at the end that happens. And it's so beautiful, and it makes everyone really emotional. And this is just the spark. This is what sparks my lesson, okay? Then I get out this book, and I know what you're thinking. I could never have my kids sit through 2 read-alouds. Yes, you can. And this is just the way that I connect with my students. We always connect through books. Not a lot of conversations, just like I said. Nobody shared their thoughts, their feelings, but I could tell, and that's all I needed. I could tell. It was good. It was good. And then I read this book, which is called Gifts of the Heart. So it's set, they have to sell their farm. The family has to sell their farm. And he wants to buy gifts for his family, but they don't have enough money, and it's very frustrating. And this is actually something that's not talked about enough, is that kids really do want to be able to give their teachers, their parents, everybody gifts. And they do kind of carry that weight of, I don't have any money. Like, I want to be able to buy my parents something nice. They deserve something nice, but I don't have any money. So we all talked about that in the class, and it was really sweet to hear, and it was nice for me to get to shift that into, it doesn't have to be something, go home and help your mom with the dishes, or go home and tell your mom thank you for all you do. And I promise you, she will be so happy. And so just shifting that thought of what Christmas should be. So this family, they get a new housekeeper, and she's pretty bizarre. And all the kids form all these opinions about her. Her name's Kay. And the kids, they're going on and on. People are talking about if Santa's real or not, and they're talking about gifts. And this housekeeper really switches it in their brain and gives them a real life feel that gifts come from the heart, not from all of this stress and commotion and chaos of Christmas and fighting and arguing about what's real and what isn't real, and I have the best gift and you have the best gift, and it's just see a star in the sky, and they just take the time to look at the star in the sky, and it was flickering, and they're like, oh, it must be Grandma. And it's just so good. Another one with a really unpredictable ending that is so good. But after I read these two books, I'm like, well, what do we think? What do we think? And last year, oh my goodness, my kids wanted to give away their souls. They wanted to sell their homes and take all the money and give it back. And that's what started our blessing closet. And this year, they were like, let's not have a hot chocolate party. We were never having a hot chocolate party. But it was good that they came up with the idea, right? Let's give out our hot chocolates to people as Christmas presents, and let's give hand warmers to people who may need them to stay cold, because we could probably use them for recess, but we're only out there for a little bit. And so then they were all coming up with all these ideas, and the girls were getting pencils and papers out and making lists of things that they could do good, and it's just so good. They came up with ways they were going to help their family members and give gifts to their siblings, and I do have a class market in my class, and they started giving away their money to other people, like, how much money do you have? I want to make sure you have money for the next class market, and I've already gotten to shop at the class market so much this year. It's so good. And so we decided as a class to take our hot chocolate packets and take some hand warmers, as much as we thought we need, and give it to somebody and say, I just thought of you. You could give the gift of warmth, or you could give the gift of a sweet treat. And it worked out. We had students think of like their family members that were in nursing homes or hospitals, and one was even going to give it to like their neighbor or their younger sibling that loves hot chocolate, but she always overdrinks it, so she gets a bellyache, but she was just going to give her one packet. And it was just so sweet. And I know these are still like tangible items, but like this, it was so exciting for them to give away tangible items, and like that they had come up with the idea and they thought through the people they were going to give it to. And last year when I did this, they were like giving out chapsticks to everybody, and then we made the blessing closet, and they were telling people how you could use socks as mittens, and like giving people the gift of like education on all kinds of different things. And then they wanted every Friday, we were making hygiene bags. They wanted every first grader to get little travel size hygiene bags every week, and it was the best. It was the absolute best. And like I said, when I come back from Christmas, I'm not going to ask them what they got for Christmas, but I'm going to ask what they gave for Christmas. Did you give anybody a hug? Did you give anybody a smile? And it really helps to avoid those terrible, like, I didn't get what all my other classmates got for Christmas, but it's, let's see who gave this Christmas. And it's just the best. So I'm so glad I finally got to share this amazing lesson. It's my favorite of all time, my most cherished lesson, and definitely one that parents bring up to me at conferences and that the kids will bring up 1,000 times. It's just so beautiful. Let me know if you have any other questions. Like I said, I think you could change out the items, maybe change out the books if you know some other books. These are just my two every time for 2nd and 4th grade. So, yay! Merry Christmas. I hope that you find it within your heart to give to someone else, even if it's just a kind word or a smile.